and welcome to Railroad Adventures at Kendall. Now this episode is going to be a fun review of a model train set from the 1970s. Now this train set was given to me by John and Sarah Hodge, who had also given me a vintage Amtrak conductor uniform which is hanging in my closet. So this is going to be a fun look into the history of Lionel trains during the time in the 70s, between the golden age of the 1950s.
The list of Lionel train sets and track layouts is a wonderful, thrilling, complete model railroad. That's because it's made by Lionel.
And the 1980s with the rise of model train shells, thanks to... So we're going to be looking at this unique model train set to show you how the Lionel brand kept going despite the challenges of feigning interest in model trains. So let's get to seeing this set. Ah, the 60s and 70s, a very interesting time for toys within the United States. And this is true with model railroading, who are struggling to stay relevant despite the decrease in popularity amongst kids, each with their own unique packaging to try to drum up interest to buy new trains. As for the Lionel Corporation, whose popularity sank after the golden age of the 1950s, this took two approaches in advertising.
If anybody loves trains, it's me, Johnny Cash.
Why just give a toy when you can give a tradition? Lionel.
And between 1970 and 1986, Lionel produced the MPC sets. MPC stood for Model Products Corporation, which was a division of Lionel back when it was owned by General Mills. Yes, the cereal company.
Locking myself in the caboose of this choo-choo will keep me from going cuckoo for my favorite cereal.
The MPC sets were known to use plastic bodies and wheels to keep the sets affordable, especially for starter sets. They used 027 track along with metal frames and weights to make the trains and track reliable for users and to keep the Lionel brand going, especially when compared to what other manufacturers were making.
Complete all-American traveling daredevil thrill show. New from Bachman.
And for today's review, we'll be looking at Lionel's Working on the Railroad train set of the NDC sets from the 1970s. Now before we do that, let's get it out of the box and see what's inside before we get it out and play with it. As we can see, there's a full train set within this box, neatly organized and well taken care of. But let's get out of the box to take a further look at the set. As you can see, the trains and accessories make a reasonable little circuit for you to play with. Now according to the instructions, this circuit is called the Timberline, while the expanded version will be called the Logging Empire. It includes a crossover track to make a figure-8 layout. Either way, the layouts use Lionel's signature tube rail track, which uses pins as a means to connect to each other. Now before we have extra fun with this train set, let's take a closer look at each of the rolling stock included. Let's start with the locomotive. As you can see, both the body and the wheels are entirely made out of plastic, with only the motor and pickups being the only things made out of metal. Up to getting this locomotive, the only time I've seen plastic Lionel trains are the modern G-scale sets that you get around Christmas time at Target. As you can see on top, there's a little switch that operates the reverser on this engine. For example, if the switch is in the forward position, the locomotive will go forward, but if it's switched back, it would go into the reversing direction. When it comes to a size and weight, it's noticeably different than the traditional cast metal train sets that you get from Lionel. Even the pickup system is a little different. It's just a metal ball as opposed to a roller used to pick up on regular Lionel trains. Now the cars included within the set include this log loading flat car, this burro breakdown crane, and this work caboose. Now there was supposed to be a regular flat car and box car that came with the set, but unfortunately the set I acquired had neither of those. But we'll assume that they came with the set when it was purchased brand new from the shop. Each of these cars has only 2 wheels and a large knob to hold the coupler, as opposed to a standard bogie that you would see on regular Lionel trains. Interesting enough, these couplers are almost compatible with the regular Lionel trains, although they don't open up and have to slide in so they can hitch up to the rest of the train. On the side of the crane is a little knob that lets you move the hook up or down. Now the lumber loading car has a knob where you can push and dump out your log load. Your log load includes these 4 plastic logs that can be loaded onto the train using the crane and the really nice lumber mill that came with the set. Now the lumber mill had a little lever that lets you dump the logs onto the train. I would love to demonstrate that to show you how it works, but I'm afraid that would destroy the lumber mill due to the damage it has accumulated over the years. Aww. Other accessories include these 3 figures, one of a worker for the lumber mill, and these 2 what I think are train robbers who plan to rob your train, foiled by you, the driver, who has a simple plan in mind.
That's a fender bender.
The last thing we'll check out is the transformer itself. Like the train, it's entirely made out of plastic. The connection between the transformer and track is done with your standard Lionel CTC lock-on. 2 unique features about this transformer is the wire can be disconnected when not in use, and there is no button to change direction on the train, just speed. However, the direction of the train can be determined by the aforementioned switch on top of the locomotive. For a plastic set made in the General Mills era from 1978, this train set is a great option for anyone wanting to get started with collecting vintage Lionel trains and having fun with the grandkids. And speaking of which, let's have some fun and watch this train in action. I hope you enjoyed this review of Lionel's Working on the Railroad train set. I want to give a big shout out to John and Sarah Hodge for giving me this nice train set. A big thank you, because this has been a fun experience reviewing this. I had a fun time learning about this set and hope to do more reviews. Maybe we'll talk about some of the Bachmann trains I have in my collection. Did you enjoy that? It was a great look into Lionel trains during the time in the 70s, and I hope to do more model train reviews like this. Comment down below and subscribe if you want to see more train action, whether I'm on the road or in the studio. Well, that's all the time here on Railroad Adventures of Kendall. See you later, folks, and may your gifts bless the world.